It's celebration time in Azerbaijan. The nation is marking the liberation of the city of Shusha last month after 3 decades of Armenian occupation. Shusha plays a significant role in Azerbaijan's history. Its liberation led Armenia to concede defeat in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict and agree to a ceasefire deal. We'll speak to the country's acting culture minister about the importance of the city and the plans for its revival as Azerbaijan's cultural capital. But first, this report by Haydar Abbasi.
It's been almost 30 years since anyone prayed here. This mosque is in the city of Shusha in Nagorno-Karabakh. But last month, the occupied territory was liberated by Azerbaijan. The first people to worship here were some of the Azerbaijani soldiers who helped to free the city. Shusha holds great importance for the people of Azerbaijan.
28 yıl yarım Şuşa işgal altındaydı. Şuşanın Azerbaycan tarixində xüsusi yeri vardır. Bu bizim qədim tarixi şəhərimizdir. Əsrlər boyu Azərbaycanlılar Şuşada yaşayıb, qurub, yaradıb. Şuşa nəinki Azərbaycanın, bütün Qafqazın incisidir.
Founded in 1752, Shusha is the birthplace of many prominent writers, scientists, politicians, and cultural figures. Known as the cradle of Azerbaijani music, it used to be home to famous composers and musicians. When Azerbaijan was a republic of the Soviet Union, Shusha was also a popular tourist destination. But after war broke out in 1988, Armenian forces illegally took over the city. Tens of thousands of people were killed in the conflict, and hundreds of monuments and cultural artifacts were destroyed. Shusha remained under Armenian control until November, when large parts of Nagorno-Karabakh were liberated by Azerbaijan's military. President Aliyev says he wants to re-establish the city as the cultural capital. Beybala Hasanov holds up the keys and title deed to his house in Shusha. He and his family were forced out of the city by Armenian soldiers during the war.
When Shusha is mentioned, clean air, green forests, mountains, ice springs come to mind. Shusha is our everything. I believe that we will return. If I didn't believe it, I wouldn't have kept the title deeds and keys until today. All Azerbaijani people were delighted that Shusha city was taken back.
Hasanov and many other Azerbaijanis had been waiting almost 30 years to return home. And finally, their patience has paid off. Haydar Abbasi, Straight Talk.
And joining me now from Baku is Anar Kərimov. He is the acting culture minister of Azerbaijan. Mr. Kərimov, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Could you talk to us about the significance of the liberation of Shusha and what kind of an impact it had both on Azerbaijan, Armenia, and the region in general?
Well, thank you very much. Well, let me give you first a brief historical overview of Shusha. The city is built by the first ruler of Karabakh, Panah Ali Khan, in 1752, and it became directly the capital of the Karabakh Khanate. And if you look at the city from the distance, you can clearly see the reasons behind this wise decision by Panah Ali Khan to build this capital, or we call it Shusha Fortress, in this particular place, as it is located in a plateau surrounding in 3 directions by the high rocks, which makes this city very difficult to approach, to conquer. So it is indeed a very strategical place overlooking all Karabakh. And that's why the liberation of Shusha was an important success and achievement for Azerbaijan. This is a strategical, of course, the importance of Shusha. But let me also highlight its cultural significance for Azerbaijan. Yes. Historically, Shusha used to be a cradle of culture of not only Karabakh, but the whole Azerbaijan. I mean, starting from its Khanate period, prominent thinkers, poets, cultural figures like Molla Panah Vagif, Khurshud Banu Natavand. She was a daughter of the last ruler of Karabakh, Mir Mohsen Nawab, and many other personalities came from Shusha. And they contributed a lot to the development of culture in Azerbaijan, and I would say far beyond the region. And the musical traditions of mugham, carpet making, chogan, horse riding game, all of them recognized by UNESCO as, for instance, as an intangible heritage of humanity.
Yes, but
And
now
recently,
moving to today, what could you tell us about the current plight of the city, and could you talk to us about the extent of the destruction inflicted by the Armenian forces, and how are you planning to restore like historic monuments and institutions within the region?
Well, when it comes to our plans for future, of course, it's to bring back our people to Shusha. I think who were forcibly expelled due to Armenian occupation. So if people come back, they will definitely bring back their culture and this lost spirit of Shusha, our music, our traditions, and this will, of course, revitalize this holy place for Azerbaijan. And of course, we will restore our mosques. By the way, there were 17 mosques in Shusha, and only 3 of them remain to our days. And all these 3 mosques, out of these 2 mosques, 2 are almost in destroyed state. So we will definitely restore the tombs, mausoleums, and museums of Shusha. There are a lot of historical places in Shusha, and we plan to present the historical center of Shusha to UNESCO World Heritage List, which will, will give additional visibility and makes this city as internationally known.
We're going to talk about it, Mr. Kərimov. But now, on the other hand, Armenians and some Western countries express concern over the future of cultural heritage sites in the region, since those historic treasures are once again made part of Azerbaijan. How are you planning to address those concerns of, let's say, Armenia and some Western countries, and Armenia's claims that your country had destroyed some religious sites?
Well, let me first to say that we are very disappointed with this attitude and the concerns raised by Western media and various cultural personalities with regard to the fate of the only Christian heritage in Karabakh. It gives us a bit some impression that there is no other heritage in these territories, or as if Islamic heritage in Karabakh is less valuable or important to humanity. So this is a totally wrong, I would say, a selective approach that we obviously don't share. In fact, we don't make any distinction between the heritage, and they are all equally important for humanity, particularly to us, as we consider this heritage, be it Christian or Islamic, doesn't matter, as our heritage and part and parcel of our identity and history.
Yes. So, Mr. Kərimov, are you planning to call on international organizations, for example, to investigate the situation in the region? Because if I'm not wrong, I believe your country had been calling on UNESCO, for example, for years to investigate the destruction. Do you think they'll listen to this time? And what are the hurdles before an international investigation being launched in the region in terms of security, for example?
Of course, we are very interested that UNESCO and other international organizations will send and dispatch these technical missions to the liberated territories to verify those crimes and against our cultural heritage. So we, as you said, we kept inviting the UNESCO and international organization to these territories to check the situation with those heritage. So we will be very keen to work with the international organization to bring them on board and to see how the cultural heritage systematically were destroyed in the occupied territories, with only one reason that I should also highlight, is to erase every evidence of the presence of Azerbaijani population and civilization in this territory. So I have to mention that, because if you look at the cities like Aghdam, Fizuli, that they became ghost towns. I mean, everything, nothing left there. The buildings, infrastructure, they're completely destroyed by Armenian occupation. So we need to invite those international organizations and media and all other people that want to, they're very interested with the situation, to come and to see by their own eyes what happened in the Karabakh,
Yes.
and what kind of cultural genocide and cleansing Armenians did in these territories.
So, Mr. Kərimov, Shusha was invaded by Armenia in 1992, and during that time, Azerbaijanis made the 85.5% of that population, and they were forced to flee. So, when will they be able to return to their hometown, and how your government is planning to restart a process?
Well, just recently, our president signed a decree for inventorying and restoration of Shusha. And the big team of composing of different the government bodies are already in Shusha. They paid a visit to Shusha to check the situation and to come up with the action plan and to start this restoration, rebuilding process of the Shusha. Of course, when those infrastructural issues like the supply of energy, water, and other vital elements will be taken into account, they will be conducted and carried out, then of course we will bring back our population. And as I said, if population will come back, then this spirit of the Shusha also will be brought. And for us, it's absolutely important to bring back this spirit of Shusha, which was lost there for last 28 years.
Yes, it will
and we would like to organize these cultural festivities that Shusha was very famous with these cultural festivities like Kharı Bülbül. This is very famous musical festival that we would like to again organize in Shusha.
All right, Mr. Kərimov, unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk.
Thank you very much for your invitation.